Regarding the inevitability, yes, of escalation and a turn in some new direction in the war. Well, there are three basic directions, scenarios, right? Escalation, status quo, meaning how things are today, and accordingly, a cessation of hostilities, which apparently even Kiev is still partly counting on, though I'm not sure they really firmly believe in it. Now, if on the third,
They believe, honestly they do, yes.
well, all the more so. Three basic scenarios like that. How would you rank them? Escalation, status quo, or termination?
Status quo, approximately 50%. That is what Putin wants most of all. He's a very cautious man. He doesn't want to get into adventures. He has enough of them as it is. So for him, the best option is keep working, brothers, keep working. Meaning, citizens, be patient. Miss Houston, turn yourself inside out, but double or triple the production of missiles and anti-missiles. And Belousov and Gerasimov, I don't care how many people you lose, but you must deliver Donbas to me by the end of the year. That's the ideal option for him, which he will strive for as much as possible. Furthermore, well, a clash with reality often happens regardless of whether you want to face it or not. It finds you itself. So if reality finds Putin before he can change it, then he will have to abandon this plan. Here I give the next 40% to the fact that if he finds himself, as Arkady Raykin said, pinned in a warm place to a warm wall by Ukrainian missiles and drones, then he will go for escalation. Then there's a fork in the road, just as you said, there's a fork there too. That is, the fork is whether it will be a straightforward or a hybrid escalation. Straightforward escalation is an invasion of the territory of neighboring states that are already NATO members. Well, the simplest things that come to mind are either the Narva People's Republic or cutting off the Suwalki corridor.
Yes, the one we were talking about today.
Yes, the second option is simply that Strelkov is released from prison and made a national guru, and everything happens according to his way. War capitalism meant that nearly everyone was under arms. Everywhere you turned, you would hear, "Have you volunteered or not?" That question was on every corner. I mean, Dugin falls from a skyscraper in ecstasy, simply because he cannot contain his joy. This is the second, a kind of general mobilization. Mobilization not in the sense of just military, that won't do anything, but mobilization in the sense of finally they have given the people a holy war. Well, the people also need to be happy about it, of course, in time. And finally, the third option, discussed many times, is some kind of demonstrative strikes with tactical nuclear weapons, well, because everything else could have been more or less used. The Oreshnik in a non-nuclear version makes much less sense than the Iskander.
Yes.
These are just expensive dummies. Following the principle that Mendeleev could even launch banknotes.
Which also sometimes fall in the wrong place.
Well, yes, because their accuracy is much lower than that of the Iskanders. So naturally, they will fall in the wrong place and in the wrong way. I mean, these things make sense when they have a nuclear warhead attached and when they need to be launched at a distance of 2,500 to 3,000 kilometers. That's when it makes sense. But if they are launched at distances of up to 1,000 kilometers, where missiles with much shorter range and much higher accuracy can reach, then it's only a psychological weapon. So, well, these three options seem the least likely to me because I still hold Putin and the Kremlin in higher regard, meaning they still know how to calculate. So from there, alternative options remain, of which I have personally voiced on more than one occasion, one version or another of the idea of starting what could be described as a hybrid war, but not against the borderlands specifically, but let us say, for example, against those centers where essentially the source of evil is. It's happening now. The assembly of weapons for Ukraine. Although, of course, Narva is always, well, nice. I mean, what speaks for Narva is that they are guys who are not used to deviating from patterns. After all, they've used this pattern several times already, so everything is ready. It's a shame to throw away a good idea. So such an escalation is possible. And finally, the third option, which you say that Zelensky now, well, there's a NATO summit coming up, is working Europe over, inspiring it with his vision, with such visionariness that it's possible now to take Russia. Right now is the moment. Right now, let's go. Give me 4 times more long-range missiles, and I will bring Putin to his knees. He won't succeed in doing anything else but signing off. And well, in general, you see, I'm going to say something now that will be unpopular, at least among the listeners of Dozd. So all those problems that everyone is describing so vividly right now, like the gas station lines, and how everything in Crimea is terrible and under siege. But this problem only exists because Putin's system is not totalitarian enough. I mean, for a system, relatively speaking, where there is real Stalinism, not some pop version, well, all these challenges, they are basically just challenges when you have a 10 to 20% drop in gasoline supply. 10 to 20% is not 80. With normal management, with normal tough leadership of the country, all of this would have been compensated for long ago by now. So the problem here isn't that the Ukrainian armed forces hit the plants like that. They didn't just hit plants, they hit the weak spot of Putin's system. Its incompetence, its inefficiency, its corruption, and its inability to make quick decisions. I mean, how long have they been saying it's time to dilute the gasoline with donkey urine? Oh, excuse me, I mean, to switch to different standards.
Yes, yes, yes.
Well, they've been talking about it since day one. Listen, we have a graduate of the Mendeleev Institute of Chemical Technology right here, Khodorkovsky. For those who don't know him, those who do know, he's a chemist who's top-notch. He says, listen, you have to dilute it. And what happened? 2 weeks passed, everyone's in a panic, and they finally started diluting it. Well, that should have been done on the first day. Reroute the flows. Of course, it's hard to reroute flows. Everything from Siberia is complicated. I'm not talking about Stalin, who just shot people in batches, but anyone who knows the stories about Chernomyrdin and how he ran Gazprom knows that with some swearing, with some elbow grease and a lot of grit, Viktor Stepanovich would solve such problems in a couple of days. So right now, we're not really talking about that. We're talking about how the slightest, this pressure exposed the system's inefficiency, the fact that it's all lax, that everyone there is used to playing at war, not dying in it. Then the question arises, given Putin's state, what will be easier for him in this situation? To sign a treaty with Zelensky or to shoot, figuratively speaking, a dozen of his friends? Judging by what's happening with Traber, the second option will be easier.